one job. I have to find a way to beat a really tough guy named Keith Jardine.
I'm gonna put my head down, I'm gonna move forward, I'm gonna try and get him up against the fence and keep him there.
I'm gonna try and, tear him apart.
Picture perfect ending this fight, I catch him with a hook or something midway through the first round. Done.
It would surprise me if it was anything other than, a really good fight.
I'm a fighter, I'm gonna try to hurt the guy as hard as I possibly can and as bad as I possibly can. And Chuck Liddell will be on the receiving end of that.
Rematch with Tito, just another chance to shut him up.
Now it's just all about redemption, of stepping in and getting my world title back.
If I knock him out in the first round, the second round, the fourth round, don't care, I'm gonna knock him out.
It's about beating Chuck Liddell and showing everybody in the world that he is human.
The wait is finally over. We are live at the MGM Grand Garden Arena. Nowhere can you step in Las Vegas and not see two men, Chuck Liddell and Tito Ortiz. Posters all over. The hype has never been larger. They will meet again to settle the score, perhaps for the final time. Sold out inside the MGM Grand Garden Arena. Tickets are the hottest in town, and we have it for you. Hi again, everybody. Happy New Year. Welcome to the Ultimate Fighting Championship. For many, many years, the most recent years, Tito Ortiz and Chuck Liddell have been the most recognizable names and stars in the UFC. A few years ago, the UFC belonged to Tito. Then Chuck took it away. Chuck has the fame. Chuck has the fortune. Chuck has what Tito wants back. Chuck has the light heavyweight championship belt. My partner is always Joe Rogan. You speak to the magnitude of this fight, and never has there been more anticipation, and I know we've said it before, than Tito and Chuck to meet tonight.
You know what? This is the perfect time for this fight because mixed martial arts is exploding. The UFC is bigger than it's ever been before, and these two guys are in their prime. Tito Ortiz already has a loss to Chuck Liddell. It's a very damaging loss, a highlight reel KO loss, but he has come so far since that, and Chuck Liddell is on fire right now. He's like Mike Tyson in the 1980s, where everyone's terrified of him. Mixed martial arts fighters who have great skills like Renato Babalu Sobral just fall apart under the pressure of being knocked out by these nuclear weapons that Chuck carries in his hands. He just got vicious power. He's a dog. He loves to fight. He gets in there, and he's capable of knocking out any single fighter he gets in there with. He's got a who's who list of knockout victims, from Randy Couture to Babalu to Kevin Random and Guy Metzger. I mean, anybody this guy hits, he can put to sleep.
Undoubtedly right now, Chuck Liddell is the biggest star in UFC history. But if there is a co-star that you want in this movie, in this main event, it is the Huntington Beach bad boy, Tito Ortiz.
You know what? Tito Ortiz has come a long way. First of all, since his fight with Chuck Liddell, he's had some fights where he had to test himself, like against Vitor Belfort, where he's in deep trouble, but he pulled out of that fight to dominate. He's been training very hard. This is his fourth fight this year. He's had no injuries. He's been up in Big Bear for 10 months, working hard on his conditioning. He wants that belt back badly. He redeemed himself in the eyes of many of the fans with his performance as a coach on the Ultimate Fighter television show. He gained so many new fans because of that, and because of his performances against Ken Shamrock and Forrest Griffin. This is, if Tito Ortiz has ever had a time where he is at his best, it is now. This is the perfect time for this rematch, and I'm pumped.
Yes,
I can't wait to see this.
I can understand that. I see that. Tito Ortiz, 100% strong mentally, 100% strong physically, but he will need all of that because tonight he will take on the greatest Chuck Liddell of all time for the ultimate in prizes, the light heavyweight championship belt. For the past few hours, our fans have been text voting on who they believe will win tonight's main event. And right now, it's the Iceman Chuck Liddell garnering 65% of the text votes. Now, you can get involved all night long by logging on at UFC.com. We'll keep you updated throughout tonight's pay-per-view. Also on the card, here at UFC 66, the return of the Pitbull.
Yes, former UFC heavyweight champion Andrei Arlovski steps back into the octagon. Andrei is an excellent striker, and he's taking on an excellent grappler in Marcio Pedipano Cruz.
And one that is heavily anticipated in the light heavyweight division, Forrest Griffin and Keith Jardine.
The ultra-popular Forrest Griffin, veteran of The Ultimate Fighter, takes on another veteran of The Ultimate Fighter in Keith Jardine. Two very similar styles in a very exciting matchup.
Should be a slugfest. Our ways to win brought to you by Ant Mobile. More mobile than you are used to. As always, 3 judges scored the bout. The bout duration, 3 5-minute rounds. The title fight tonight is scheduled for 5 5-minute rounds. As always, a 10-point loss scoring system is in effect, with the round winner gaining 10 points, his opponent 9 or less, based on effective striking, grappling, aggression, and octagon control. Cannot wait to get this card started. Undoubtedly the deepest card of 2006. Here courtesy of the UFC, and we begin with the highly educated, heavily dangerous, ravishing red, Eric Schaefer. He returns to the octagon as we welcome for the first time on pay-per-view the Count Michael Bisping, the king of the Ultimate Fighter 3. Blessed with a deadly submission game, as well as a quick wit, Eric Schaefer is the type of fighter that will choke you out with no mercy and then make you laugh about it 10 minutes later. Victorious in impressive fashion in his UFC debut against Rob McDonald in August, he's been doing plenty of damage in his chosen art, compiling a 9-1-2 professional record with his last 4 victories, all coming by tap out. Tonight, Schaefer hopes to get victory number 10 against the Count, Michael Bisping.
He's confident in jiu-jitsu, which is good. I hope he's overconfident. He wants to play a little bit because he's gonna be, he's gonna get submitted if he wants to play jiu-jitsu with me.
England's Michael the Count Bisping, a well-rounded 27-year-old who is comfortable wherever the fight takes him. Bisping is unbeaten in his pro campaign at 12-0, and he made an impressive impact stateside during his time on The Ultimate Fighter, where he stopped Christian Rothermel, Ross Poynton, and Josh Haynes en route to the 3rd season crown. Tonight, his UFC journey continues.
In a perfect world, the way I see this fight ending would be like many other fights, the paramedics coming in and waking him up with the smelling salts underneath his nose. Wouldn't be the first time it happened, and it's not going to be the last.
Coming up next, Eric Ravishing Red Schaefer takes on Ultimate Fighter 3 winner Michael the Count Bisping. We begin the night at 2:05. We end the night at 2:05. We begin with this man, Ravishing Red, Eric Schaefer. Great submissions, brown belt in Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and an extremely impressive debut at UFC 62. Really kind of just tooling with Rob McDonald.
Yeah, his jiu-jitsu is very technical. I was very impressed with that. He went for a standing guillotine and eventually got down to the ground and got him in an arm triangle from the side, very tight, and put Rob McDonald to sleep. I'm very impressed with the technical aspects of his jiu-jitsu.
He has won 8 of his 9 fights by submission, so jiu-jitsu is certainly his favorite, at least discipline to utilize. He's a well-rounded dude. He's into the arts, theater, enjoys painting. Not a big, like he said, macho tattoo guy, but when he gets in there, he fights big and he fights with a lot of heart.
He even joked about his lack of natural athleticism after his fight, saying that he's a jiu-jitsu guy because it's, you can do it with a body like his, that you can be technical and still win.
Of course, his breakdown of his last fight was the only weakness he sees is that his opponent was Canadian. He was going to say the only weakness he sees with Bisping is his opponent is British, but he said he'd used the line before. He said he will do his talking inside the octagon. So Ravishing Red, Eric Schaefer, fighting out of beautiful Milwaukee, Wisconsin. back inside the octagon here tonight. Help us get things started at UFC 66. There is such a primal buzz in this room right now. And Joe, you and I have been blessed with calling a lot of UFCs. But there is an energy that is unprecedented right now. Yeah, and you know what? It's been that way all day. Going through the casino today, this place is electric. If you had a light bulb in your hand, you held it up in the air, it might just light up. I mean, the air is just thick. Michael Bisping, his opponent. I think this might be the first time anybody ever came out to the Clash. You know what? It's appropriate for this man, that's for sure. Fighting out of Liverpool, England, born in Cyprus. He's won all but one of his fights by strikes. Has trained a little bit in Las Vegas with George St. Pierre. 14 stone 9 pounds, which is 205 in Britain. I mean, he wants to not only win here tonight in his pay-per-view debut, but I think he wants to be the poster boy in his home. He wants to be the poster boy overseas to the attempted growth and the potential growth of the UFC worldwide. Yeah, without a doubt. He's gotten off to a slow start because of some visa problems, getting back to the United States. You know, unfortunately, he had to cancel a couple of fights that he had here, but he's here now. Very, very well-rounded fighter. He prefers to strike. He's a very good striker, but he's also a very good submission guy. He's got a very good Kimura, good ground game from the top and the bottom. I don't think he's as good as Eric Schaefer on the ground, but he's very good. He can give Eric Schaefer some problems, and I believe get out of some submissions. Standing up, I give him an advantage. In the light heavyweight division, he was absolutely the man on the Ultimate Fighter 3. We saw Forrest and Stephen Bonner go toe-to-toe to the very end. We saw Ed Herman, Kendall Grove both get contracts, but in this particular competition, nobody else was a competitor, realistically, to take away what Bisping wanted, and that was the Ultimate Fighter Championship. Yeah, he was the cream of the crop out of that cast. Our tale of the tape for this first fight of the night brought to you by Science. Extreme supplements for extreme athletes. Available at GNC stores nationwide. The Brit is 27, the American is 29. The reach advantage belongs to Ravishing Red. Let's get this night officially started. With the veteran voice of the Octagon, here is Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, we are live from the sold-out arena here at the MGM Grand in Las Vegas for UFC 66. And now, it's time to begin our first bout of the evening. 3 rounds of fighting in the UFC light heavyweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner. This man is a mixed martial artist who holds a professional record of 9 wins with 1 loss and 2 draws. Standing 6 feet 3 inches tall, weighing in at 205 pounds. Fighting out of Milwaukee, Wisconsin, Eric Ravishing Red Schaefer. And now introducing his opponent, fighting out of the red corner. This man is a mixed martial artist who holds a perfect professional record of 12 wins with no losses. He stands 6 feet 2 inches tall, weighing in at 205 pounds. Fighting out of Liverpool, England, Michael the Count Bisping. And when the action begins, our referee in charge of the Octagon is Mario Yamasaki.
Mario Yamasaki, our referee. As Bisping has the superior stand-up in this matchup. Schaefer, the superior ground game. And we are underway. Welcome to UFC 66, Liddell Vs Ortiz 2. Good right hand by Bisping. Schaefer might have got hurt there. He's keeping his hands up high. Good jab by Bisping. Oh, good takedown. Good takedown. Very nice. Timed it perfectly. Scramble. Back to his feet is Bisping. Relentless with his takedowns, Eric Schaefer. We saw that in his matchup against Rob McDonald, and it did not take long for him to take him down, put a submission arm triangle on him, and finish the night. Very good takedown defense so far by Bisping, though. Got back to his feet. Bisping Other English fighters have come through. Mark Weir, Ian Freeman. He wants to be the one to really last for a long, long time and dominate here in the Ultimate Fighting Championship. Just 27 years old, a complete workaholic. Out of the Wolf Slayer, the Mixed Martial Arts Academy. Straight kick. Schaefer got the leg and pressed a takedown.
All right, let's see what Schaefer can pull off here.
Schaefer with a good position here early in round number 1.
Like I said, I give Schaefer an advantage, but Bisping is definitely competent on the ground. As you see, he reclaims half guard here. Better position for him. Doing a good job of controlling Schaefer's posture. Schaefer's trying to get out of that half guard. He's using his right leg to try to make some space. He's in an arm triangle again. He's got it on the other side.
Can he finish?
He's got a very good arm triangle.
Bisping, 12-0 in his mixed martial arts career, and he's able to avoid.
Good job by Bisping, but you can see Schaefer means business.
Well, Schaefer, as you said, does mean business, likes the takedowns. Jiu-jitsu guy, loves the submissions more.
And I think he's very confident here, especially being that close to a submission that early. He's got his back here, he's got one hook, he's got two hooks. He's got one hook, he's gonna try to drag him down. He let go of the second hook, but he's still got an over-under.
Oh, down on his head!
But that's all right, he's got one hook in still. He's transitioning to mount. He's gonna go to that arm triangle too. He does that from the back.
Bisping is in trouble. Ravishing Red in a great position here with the full mount. Bisping trying to slide his way out, gets the half guard.
By Bisping, scrambling there. Trying to hip escape to full guard here. He's gonna try to get his right leg out. Bisping likes the Kimura. You see him reaching for that arm on the right side of Eric Schaefer. He might try to go for Kimura on that side. He's gonna use it to stand up. Uses the fence. Good job by Bisping.
Michael Bisping back to the feet. Bisping likes to control. He likes to utilize clinch, likes to knee. Loves to open things up and strike. But Schaefer relentless in trying to control. Good knee by Eric Schaefer. I wonder a little bit with Bisping as he takes a knee here with so much excitement and anticipation. Caught him big time.
He took a big kick to the head there.
It's so much excitement and anticipation, he almost has to get some of his pay-per-view UFC jitters out. Michael Bisping, of course.
Certainly, and especially considering the fact that he won the Ultimate Fighter. There's a lot of expectations on him, and there's a lot of time off in between that performance and this fight tonight.
And he waited, like you said, because of the visa problems, waiting to get her going. Big credentials on the Ultimate Fighter 3. And now he looks like he's imposing his game a bit. But right when I say that, Schaefer takes him back down.
Eric Schaefer's just kind of walking forward and walking through those punches and kicks. Very dangerous, but he's getting away with it so far. Got a hold of Bisping's back. He's got an over-under, it seems. Yep. Pulling him into his back. Let's see Schaefer's guard. Too loose.
And Bisping back up, delivers a big hammer. Bisping throws the legs aside and throws a left-right. Look, he throws the legs aside and comes down strong again.
He's got an arm.
Bisping pulls it right out.
Schaefer's very quick with his submissions. Bisping's landing some shots.
Absolutely.
Schaefer could be in trouble here.
Watch for the upkick, Michael Bisping. And now Schaefer gives up his back, rolling away for a second.
Oh, he's in trouble.
Connected. And it is all over. Michael Bisping has defeated Eric Schaefer.
Very, very nice performance by Michael Bisping. He's in a little bit of trouble there. He got mounted. He almost got submitted. Came back strong with some big punches from the guard to finish this fight off.
I'm good, man.
Let's take a look at some of the action from that round. That's the kick that hurt him. That's where it all started out. And here's the end of the fight. Schaefer just rolling, trying to cover up. Mario Yamasaki, realizing he's badly hurt, stops the fight. Michael Bisping walks away with the win.
Michael Bisping's UFC debut is hugely successful. Here's Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Mario Yamasaki has called a stop to this contest at 4 minutes, 24 seconds of the very first round. For the winner by TKO, Michael the Count Bisping.
Truly relieved is the Count. Here's Joe.
All right, I'm I'm here with the winner, Michael Bisping. Michael, congratulations. Now, it's been a long time coming. You won the Ultimate Fighter television show, and you had some visa problems and some other things trying to get to the country. How much was that frustrating you in making your Octagon debut?
Well, I like to fight a lot more regularly than what I have been doing, so I could not wait to get in here. Props to Eric, put up a bit of a fight, but like always, I got the knockout or the TKO. Everyone, they better watch the fucking back.
All right, Michael, let's take a look at this successful pay-per-view debut in the Mickey's replay up on the big screen.
Yeah, here we go. We're setting up the left kick. Boom, I knew he'd keep coming in, shooting in like that. Bit of a mistake, I shouldn't have grabbed the head like that, but who knows, I thought I might have got a guillotine. But my ground and pound, not many people can defend it. You know, I don't get to show it too much, but there we go, bang, bang, bang. Good night, go home.
Good night and go home indeed. Very effective, and we look forward to seeing you again. Michael Bisping, ladies and gentlemen.
I love the count, Michael Bisping. That's why the applause were so dynamic upon his pay-per-view entrance here tonight into the Ultimate Fighting Championship. Bisping at 205 wins for the first time since being the man to defeat everyone in the house at the Ultimate Fighter 3. Now, don't forget, your voice can be heard throughout the evening, as the audience inside the MGM Grand Garden Arena has been voting on their mobile phones on who they think will win tonight's title fight. Is it Chuck Liddell or Tito Ortiz? Now, to be heard, you can log on at UFC.com and cast your vote. Right now, 64% of our fans around the world believe the title will remain in the hands of the Iceman, Chuck Liddell, the light heavyweight champion. UFC 66, Liddell Vs Ortiz 2 is being brought to you by Zion Synergy. Synergy, great taste, extreme energy. By Mickey's Fine Malt Liquor, the official beer of the UFC. Mickey's, get stuffed. And by Toyo Tires, driven to perform. Toyo Tires, the official tire of the UFC. Take a look backstage at the Pitbull. Andrei Arlovsky, the former heavyweight champion, set to return to the Octagon tonight for the first time since being defeated for a second time by Tim the Maniac Sylvia. His opponent this evening will be Marcio Petapano Cruz, a tremendous jiu-jitsu practitioner who undoubtedly wants to take this fight to the ground. That heavyweight battle coming up later tonight. One title on the line tonight at the MGM Grand Garden Arena, but we will have two titles on the line in February when we move down the road to the Mandalay Bay Event Center.
When two new champions face off against two veteran fighters, it'll be all or nothing. George St. Pierre brought down a legend. Now, the newly crowned champion defends his title for the first time against the Ultimate Fighter welterweight winner, Matt the Terra Serra. And new middleweight champion Anderson Silva brings his devastating strikes to the octagon against another Ultimate Fighter winner, Travis Lutter. Also, two of the world's most dangerous fighters make their long-awaited UFC debuts. Quentin Rampage Jackson, one of the greatest 205-pounders in the world, looks to unleash his incredible strength and brutal slams in the UFC light heavyweight division. And the most feared mixed martial artist in the world comes to the United States for the first time to begin his quest for the UFC Heavyweight Championship. International superstar Mirko Cro Cop. The Ultimate Fighting Championship presents UFC 67, All or Nothing, from the Mandalay Bay Event Center in Las Vegas. Live Saturday, February 3rd, only on pay-per-view.
UFC 67, Saturday, February 3rd from the Mandalay Bay Event Center. Two titles on the line as welterweight champion. George Rush St. Pierre takes on Matt the Terra Serra. And in the middleweight division, it's the Spider, Anderson Silva, against Travis Lutter. Also that night, the UFC debut for Quentin Rampage Jackson as he takes on Marvin the Beastman Eastman. And in a great heavyweight showdown, the UFC welcomes heavyweight slugger Mirko Cro Cop as he faces off against Eddie Sanchez. UFC 67, All or Nothing. Tickets available right now at UFC.com, Ticketmaster.com, or the Mandalay Bay Event Center box office. Later tonight, it is our main event of the evening as the Iceman, Chuck Liddell, puts his 8-fight winning streak on the line in a title fight against his arch rival, the former light heavyweight champion, the Huntington Beach bad boy, Tito Ortiz. jam-packed MGM Grand Garden Arena. Oh, what a year we have in store for you, 2007, but 2006 will finish with a flurry. As he arrived at 5:30 Pacific time, the former light heavyweight champion of the world, the Huntington Beach bad boy, Tito Ortiz. And shortly thereafter, the reigning light heavyweight champion, the most popular man in UFC history, none other than the most devastating striker ever to walk into the octagon, Chuck Liddell. Our main event later tonight. Now, you know, many anticipated he would become the most dominant heavyweight champion in UFC history. Tim Sylvia, though, was not a believer. Now the Pitbull returns to battle Marcio Cruz and begin his climb back up. Marcio Petapano Cruz is one of the top jiu-jitsu practitioners in mixed martial arts today. Yet he is no stranger to being an underdog in a UFC match. As it was as an underdog that he scored his biggest octagon win to date, a one-sided first-round TKO of former UFC heavyweight champion Frank Mir back in February. Ironically, Cruz returns tonight as the underdog against another former champion, Andrei Arlovski. And this six-time World Jiu-Jitsu champion would like nothing better than to rebound from his close decision loss to Jeff Monson in April by stopping the comeback of the Pitbull and continuing his trek up the UFC ladder.
I don't know how it's going to go to the ground, but sooner or later it's going to go to the ground, and that's where I'll finish him.
Former UFC heavyweight champion Andrei Arlovski was deemed unbeatable during his 14-month reign of terror over the division, and with explosive wins over Tim Sylvia and Paul Buentello to his credit, a long tenure as champion seemed to be a given. But after a stunning first-round knockout loss to Sylvia in their April rematch and a listless decision defeat in the rubber match with the Maniac in July, it was obvious that the Pitbull needed to heal a number of injuries, go back to the gym, and regain the form that made him the most feared heavyweight in the world. Tonight, the first step of Arlovski's comeback journey begins as he takes on Marcio Cruz.
I lost the belt, and I feel bad for myself, and I feel bad for my fans, for my family, that right now I'm not champion, but I will be back.
Coming up next, Marcio Petapano Cruz takes on Andrei the Pitbull Arlovski. A lot of people have said, including Randy the Natural Couture, actually who he feels bad for is Marcio Cruz, because everyone believes you don't want to be Andrei Arlovski's next opponent. That being said, Cruz has absolutely undeniably great jiu-jitsu skills.
His jiu-jitsu is fantastic. However, he is not a wrestler, so he doesn't have the best takedowns in the world, and his striking is definitely what you would consider an amateur level. He started off with a fairly easy fight with Kunihara, and he showed that the fact that he had this deficit in striking. But ever since then, he's had nothing but tough fights. Frank Mir, Jeff Monson, but he showed improvement. He showed improvement in his striking, showed improvement in his stance. If the fight goes to the ground, though, he has a massive advantage. He is a several-time World Jiu-Jitsu champion, top of the food chain, black belt submission skills, and he's a threat to anyone on the ground.
Six-time world champion of Jiu-Jitsu, eight-time Pan American champion of Jiu-Jitsu. Dominated in Abu Dhabi in 2003 to win his weight division. A black belt, as Joe mentioned, a man who will quickly try to pull guard and get away from those dangerous strikes of the Pitbull, Andrei Arlovski. Sugarfoot, Marcio Petapano Cruz. Disrespect and I mean that sincerely, no disrespect or disregard to our heavyweight champion, Tim Sylvia, but I think a lot of people in the world are still surprised when Arlovsky walks in without a belt, because he has that kind of talent.
Well, you know what? He does have that kind of talent, but it also, I think, a lot of people underestimate Tim Sylvia. I mean, Tim Sylvia is a devastating puncher. He put Rico Rodriguez to sleep. He stopped a lot of guys. Cabbage. He stopped a lot of guys that, you know, people didn't think that he was going to beat. Andre Arlovsky is an immensely talented guy. He has fantastic strikes. His movement is excellent from side to side, in and out. He's very, very technical. The only thing he's been criticized when it comes to his striking is his chin. Tim Sylvia tested that chin and put a big dent in it the second time they fought, and used that, the fact that he did that the second time they fought, to keep him at bay in the third time they fought and win a decision in that fight. Andre Arlovsky, though, is still a young guy. He's only 27 years old. We've seen massive improvement in him from his Octagon debut. He looks like very angry and determined and focused now. And he knows that this is a very pivotal moment in his career, and this is a perfect style matchup for him. He's facing a guy who doesn't offer any threat on the feet. Andre Arlovsky's striking is far superior to Pedapano Cruz. And you're also facing a guy who doesn't have good takedowns, but Andre Arlovsky has proved over and over again he has excellent takedown defense. It has all the ingredients for a big show for Andre Arlovsky.
Our tale of the tape for this heavyweight matchup brought to you by Zions Extreme Supplements for Extreme Athletes, available at GNC stores nationwide. The former heavyweight champion of the world, 27 years old, the Belarusian, taking on the Brazilian, who is 28. Everything else, Joe, is virtually even. Once again, for our official introductions, here's Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, this next bout is 3 rounds in the UFC heavyweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner. This man is a mixed martial artist who holds a professional record of 2 wins with 1 loss. He stands 6 feet 4 inches tall, weighing in at 236 pounds. Fighting out of Rio de Janeiro, Brazil, Marcio Pedapano Cruz. And now introducing his opponent, fighting out of the red corner. This man is a mixed martial artist who holds a professional record of 11 wins with 5 losses. He stands 6 feet 3 inches tall, weighing in at 236 pounds. Fighting out of Chicago, Illinois, by way of Minsk, Belarus, ladies and gentlemen, the former UFC heavyweight champion, Andre the Pitbull Arlovsky. In charge of the octagon is Herb Dean.
Herb Dean, our referee. Marcio Cruz against the Pitbull.
You ready to fight? Come on,
and here we go. They touch, and Arlovsky will come out swinging.
Andre Arlovsky looks angry.
Oh, he has waited a long time for a little bit of redemption. Not against Sylvia here, but he just wants to win, start his way back up the heavyweight ladder.
This is such a perfect style matchup for him as well, and I think he knows that. This is a good chance for him to put on a show.
Explosive with the jabs, hasn't stepped in with them yet, but really moving around. Yep.
Shoots instantly.
And a good sprawl.
Pulls guard, and Pedapano is an excellent guard.
Yep.
Excellent sweeps. If Andre Arlovsky gets caught up in this game, he could be in big trouble. Pedapano clinching a hold of him, not giving him any air. Notice the difference between how he holds on in half guard. He's not just merely holding his legs in that position. He's gripping his body very tight, staying very close to him. And he's going to manipulate his weight, try to spin up behind him and sweep him. He's probably going to try to grab Andre's right leg and pull it out from under him if he can get a hold of it. Stands up. Andre's got good defense.
Watch the knee.
Still got that leg, though. Pedapano is very determined to take this fight to the ground. And if he gets it to the ground, he has a decided advantage there.
This is truly one of those fights, Joe, it is mixed martial arts. We do know that, and the game has changed so much, so drastically, but this is one where one man has a definitive advantage one place, the other in the other spot.
Yeah, it really is old school UFC matchup.
It is, yep. That being said, Arlovsky's ground skills continue to improve.
They are very good.
Pedapano tries to do more on the feet, or he won't survive very long.
I mean, Arlovsky has won fights by submission before.
Absolutely.
And against Tim Sylvia.
was for the interim heavyweight title back at UFC 51. At Mandalay Bay, UFC 67. What announcements made? It's St. Pierre against Serra. Middleweight title fight, Anderson Silva and Travis Lutter. And then the UFC debuts of Quentin Rampage Jackson and Mirko Kroka. Tickets are now available. UFC 67, all or nothing.
He dropped down for a heel hook. It looks like Andre's trying for an ankle lock of his own. Andre's very good at this. He's got a very good straight ankle lock. He might not be confident enough to try to pull it off on Pedapano. It might be why he let it go.
Now that's how he beat Silvia with the ankle lock. But that was right after he had rocked him, though.
Pedapano is not Tim Silvia, though. There's a big difference in the ground skills of these two guys.
Undoubtedly, and Silvia had already been rocked.
Marcio's got to hold that leg still.
Marcio trying to keep this within his game and doing a good job so far, Joe.
Yeah, if I was Andre, I would try to get out of this and bring him back up.
Gotta be careful with the kick. The kick to the face of a downed opponent. Cruz says no problem. Herb Dean's going to talk to Andre Arlovski about it. Give him a warning.
Randy Couture next to me yelled, "Let him go, Herb."
Oh, right hand, and that rocked him. Wow. Arlovski just waited for Herb Dean to step away.
He's got to hold that leg. If he can roll out of this position, he's taking some shots to the head here. His head is kind of trapped, but he's committed to this.
Arlovski looking to finish, and it is all over.
Wow.
Andre Arlovski has defeated Marcio Cruz.
And that is a big hazard when you go for a leg lock. When you commit to a leg, you're grabbing a hold of that leg with both your arms and presumably using your legs as well. You have nothing to defend yourself from those punches. Pedapano just still can't stand up. He's out, very wobbly. Took some big punches.
Joe, as soon as Herb Dean said start, Arlovski his timing was perfect. Watch. He says, all right, go. And he waited, bam!
Bang, and that is a
perfect
hard
timing.
right hand. I think Cruz was hurt right there, but he grabbed a hold of that leg and was trying to roll over into a leg lock, but in that position, committing to that leg, left his head exposed, took some shots, and was ultimately stopped.
It was like the whole time that Herb Dean was talking to the men, it's like Arlovski was just saying, all right, finish what you're saying because I'm ready to punch this guy in the face. And Andre Arlovski has returned to the winner's circle. And he is fine. I'll tell you what, there is a great sense of relief right now for Andre Arlovski because he clearly knows you cannot lose 3 straight fights, even if 2 are title fights, here in the Ultimate Fighting Championship. Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Herb Dean has called a stop to this contest at 3 minutes 15 seconds of the very first round. For the winner by knockout, Andre the Pitbull Arlovski.
The Pitbull takes down Marcio Cruz, and here's Joe.
All right, I'm here with the winner, former UFC heavyweight champion Andre Arlovski. Andre, it looked like you came out very angry and very determined in this fight. Was that because you want to make up for your past performance in the last fight with Tim Silvia?
Yes, of course, after 2 of my last fights and lose against Tim Silvia, I'm very disappointed, and I come back very angry, very hungry, and for glory, for victories.
Okay, take a look at the big screen and talk us through the Mickey's replay. Here's the end of the fight.
It's not kick. I'm sorry if I kicked him. Yeah, you know, I know that Marcio is very jiu-jitsu good player, and when I prepare for this fight, I pay attention for my jiu-jitsu, of course. I want to say thank you, Dina, Michael, Sean, John, overtime, all my trainers, thank you very much, team. They helped me a lot. Thank you all my fans who still with me, behind me after 2 of my losses. I really appreciate it. Thank you, Chicago.
Well, congratulations on your comeback victory, and we look forward to seeing you challenging again for your title. Andre Arlovski.
So the Pitbull gives a hug, great class shown as he defeats Marcio Cruz here in the first round in just 3 minutes and 15 seconds. You think the UFC can't get any better at home as you watch it live on pay-per-view? Well, how about when we return in about a month? The UFC will come to you, UFC 67 in high definition. So high definition coming in February of 2007, right up the street at the Mandalay Bay Event Center. Tonight, it's UFC 66, MGM Grand Garden Arena, the big one later. Tito Ortiz and Chuck the Iceman Liddell. Look at the energy, look at the octagon, all lit up here tonight for New Year's Eve weekend. Don't forget, log on to UFC.com for exclusive behind-the-scenes access to UFC 66. You can go inside the locker rooms of Chuck Liddell and Tito Ortiz, or spend the entire night with our Octagon girls. Check out the brand new UFC Fight Club at UFC.com. A great start to our Saturday night here at the MGM Grand Garden Arena, and in February, on Super Bowl weekend, we will move down the street, once again, to Mandalay Bay.
When two new champions face off against two veteran fighters, it'll be all or nothing. George St. Pierre brought down a legend. Now, the newly crowned champion defends his title for the first time against the Ultimate Fighter welterweight winner, Matt the Terra Serra. And new middleweight champion Anderson Silva brings his devastating strikes to the octagon against another Ultimate Fighter winner, Travis Lutter. Also, two of the world's most dangerous fighters make their long-awaited UFC debuts. Quentin Rampage Jackson, one of the greatest 205-pounders in the world, looks to unleash his incredible strength and brutal slams in the UFC light heavyweight division. And the most feared mixed martial artist in the world comes to the United States for the first time to begin his quest for the UFC Heavyweight Championship. International superstar Mirko Cro Cop. The Ultimate Fighting Championship presents UFC 67, All or Nothing, from the Mandalay Bay Event Center in Las Vegas. Live Saturday, February 3rd, only on pay-per-view.
UFC 67, Saturday, February 3rd from the Mandalay Bay Event Center. Two titles on the line as welterweight champion George Rush St. Pierre takes on Matt the Terra Serra. And in the middleweight division, it's the Spider, Anderson Silva, against Travis Lutter. Also that night, the UFC debut for Quentin Rampage Jackson as he takes on Marvin the Beastman Eastman. And in a great heavyweight showdown, the UFC welcomes heavyweight slugger Mirko Cro Cop as he faces off against Eddie Sanchez. UFC 67, All or Nothing. Tickets available right now at UFC.com, Ticketmaster.com, or the Mandalay Bay Event Center box office. The light heavyweight champion, Chuck the Iceman Liddell, has won his last 8 fights by knockout or TKO. He first captured the title by defeating Randy the Natural Couture at UFC 52 right here at the MGM Grand. Since that point, he's defended against Jeremy Horn, Randy Couture, and Babalu. Tonight, Chuck the Iceman Liddell looks for his 20th victory in his mixed martial arts career. The Huntington Beach bad boy Tito Ortiz first won a UFC championship back at UFC 25 in April of 2000, defeating Vanderlei Silva. He brings into tonight's title contest a 5-fight winning streak, including back-to-back decisive victories over the world's most dangerous man, Ken Shamrock. Thousands have been heard over the last few hours. The audience inside the MGM Grand Garden Arena have been voting on their mobile phones on who they think will win tonight. Will it be the Iceman, Chuck Liddell, or will it be the Huntington Beach bad boy, Tito Ortiz? You also can be heard at UFC.com, so cast your vote. Now, earlier, it was about 65-35 for the Iceman, but the Tito fans are starting to sound off a bit, Joe, and it's 57% believing that Liddell will be the man who reigns supreme. Ortiz, and as you see those yellow lights flashing, those are continuous votes coming in. Log on right now, UFC.com. UFC 66 rolls on as the athlete Jason McDonald who has already defeated one Ultimate Fighter star, looks tonight to crush Chris Lieben, the ultra-popular crippler, with that lethal left hook. Immediately after Jason the Athlete McDonald scored an upset win in his UFC debut against Ed Herman, he was emphatic about his place in the UFC.
If they brought me here to be a stepping stone for Ed Herman, they made a big mistake, because I'm nobody's stepping stone.
Well, his masterful performance on the ground, while submitting the Ultimate Fighter 3 finalist in just 2 minutes and 43 seconds, proved that he was definitely someone to be taken seriously in the UFC's middleweight division. Not wasting any time getting back into the octagon, this 7-year veteran from Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, is back to face an opponent with a little revenge on his mind.
As of last time, I wasn't a stepping stone. This time, I'm going to prove to everyone not only am I not a stepping stone, but I'm going to be a contender in this middleweight division.
Chris the Crippler Lieben's rise to the upper reaches of the middleweight division was nothing short of meteoric, as he went 5-0 in the UFC after a stint on the first season of The Ultimate Fighter. He was seemingly getting better with each successive win, but in June, Lieben ran into a brick wall in the form of future UFC middleweight champion Anderson Silva, who stopped him in just 49 seconds and sent him back towards square one. Some fighters would have wilted in such a situation, but not Lieben, who demanded an immediate return to action, got it, and delivered, knocking out tough George Santiago in the second round in August. Tonight, Lieben's road back leads him to Jason McDonald.
Just because I like to knock people out doesn't mean I won't choke them or break their arm. I love to do that too. It's just I'd rather punch you in the face.
Coming up next, Jason the Athlete McDonald takes on Chris the Crippler Lieben. The athlete, originally from New Glasgow, Nova Scotia, Canada, now fighting out of the beautiful city of Edmonton, Alberta, Canada. Spent a lot of time in his career at 205, now he's at 185, a 7-year veteran, good elbows, good skills, good size. Always has had the talent, was a bit inconsistent early in his career, perhaps. With, I think, the confidence he earned with that win over Ed Herman, this may be a Jason McDonald who could still make some statements here inside the UFC.
Have a little technical problem. He's 31 years old, so he's just coming into his own. He's more mature now than he's ever been before, more disciplined now than ever before. He showed excellent submission skills in his win against Ed Herman. I was very, very impressed with his ground game. He's going to have a good stand-up game as well to deal with Lieben. One thing Lieben brings to the table is crushing power in each hand. We don't really know what kind of a chin Jason McDonald has. We haven't seen that in the octagon, but he is a very tall guy, 6'3", very tall for 185 pounds. So it's going to be, he's going to have a nice reach in order to keep away from Lieben's power punches, but he is definitely going to want to take this fight to the ground.
Great wrestler, likes to control, decent stand-up. Lieben, as we well know, likes to swing for the fences. But the win over Herman has elevated, as I said before, I think McDonald's mental game, and now he believes he can do some things that perhaps he hadn't done in the past, especially tonight against an opponent like the crippler Chris Lieben. You heard the applause when Arlovsky entered the octagon. This guy's a little popular as well from the Ultimate Fighter 1.
I mean, how do you not like Chris Lieben?
Dude,
very entertaining character, very entertaining on the show. He's a wild man. He's not the most technically sound striker or grappler, but he is very, very tough. He wants to win very badly, and he's got brutal power in each hand. He can win by submission. He proved that against Edwin Deweese. He has a very versatile game. He's done some training up with Matt Hume to try to tighten up his submissions, change it to not just ground and pound, but to expand and move on. Had a big wake-up call in his fight with Anderson Silva and saw the very top end of that 185-pound talent-rich division, and in that top end, he came up short, but to his credit, he wanted to jump right back in, and he did so with that win over George Santiago, which is a very impressive win because George Santiago is no joke himself. So it was a tough fight to come back, but it proved that he's still got what it takes to get right back on the horse, to get right back into the cage.
How about the jacket being sported by our middleweight champion, Anderson Silva? You can see him in the background of Chris Lieben right there.
Pure pimp.
Yeah, man, the Spider going to be fighting in February. Lieben, a longtime student and training partner of UFC Hall of Famer, former light heavyweight and heavyweight champion, Randy the Natural Couture. And Randy and you and I have spoken upon the great depth of heart and skills and talent of a kid like Chris Lieben. This is a dude who woke up one day and just said, you know what, I want to be a fighter. Now I want to be a pro fighter. If I'm not training people, I'm going to be training myself. And if I'm not knocking out people, like I said, I'll elbow them, I'll submit them, I'll do whatever it takes, because this is a game in which I love. This is my sport. Our tale of the tape for this middleweight matchup is brought to you by Science, extreme supplements for extreme athletes, available at GNC stores nationwide. Reach advantage enjoyed by the Canadian Jason McDonald, who is 5 years older than the crippler Chris Lieben. But Lieben is the one who wants to be the big puncher tonight. Let's get our official introductions once again from the veteran voice of the Octagon. Here's Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, this next bout is 3 rounds of fighting in the UFC middleweight division. Introducing first, fighting out of the blue corner. This man is a mixed martial artist who holds a professional record of 18 wins with 7 losses. He stands 6 feet 3 inches tall, weighing in at 184 pounds. Fighting out of Edmonton, Alberta, Canada, Jason the Athlete McDonald. And now introducing his opponent, fighting out of the red corner. This man is a mixed martial artist holding a professional record of 16 wins with 2 losses. He stands 5 feet 11 inches tall, weighing in at 186 pounds. Fighting out of Seattle, Washington, Chris the Crippler And when the action begins, our referee in charge of the Octagon is Steve Mazzagatti.
Steve Mazzagatti, our referee. There he is, the middleweight champion, the Spider, Anderson Silva.
All right, are you ready?
Who will fight on February 3rd at UFC 67. It's Lieben and McDonald, and we are underway. Much taller and lengthier is the 6'3", 185-pound Jason McDonald.
He attempts a leg kick, Lieben caught it, they go to the ground, and Rob McDonald found out in his fight with Jason McDonald that he has got some sick jiu-jitsu.
Lieben definitely wants to be on the feet, and Lieben loves to just kind of slug. He's old school.
Excuse me, not Rob McDonald, I would say. Incorrect.
Ed Herman with that submission triangle choke with Jason McDonald. And the interesting thing about that fight is that Herman was coming off, you know, the disappointment of not winning in the Ultimate Fighter, so he was highly hyped then, Joe. And Jason McDonald, like he said in our feature coming in the fight, he said, hey, man, I'm not going to be any stepping stone. I'm going to come in here, I'm going to beat some guys up.
He's very technical on the ground. You see he's controlling Chris Lieben's posture very well, avoiding any damage in the guard. And as soon as Chris Lieben postures up, he gets out of there. Look out for that power, though.
Looking to swing with that lethal left.
Chris Lieben has bricks for hands.
Oh, caught him, though. The one thing Lieben will tend to do, though, is keep those hands a little low, and Anderson Silva jumped all over it. He hangs him just a little bit low. We got to keep an eye out for that again tonight.
Well, he does leave openings. He's not the most technically sound striker, but he's a very hard striker, and he's got heart, and he stays in the pocket. When he gets hit, he doesn't pull away. He immediately fires back, and that's how he knocked out George Santiago. He took a shot, and in the counter shot is when he knocked out George. And I mean, he even talks about how he's got this button. If you hit him, he hits back. It's instant.
Stop!
And Ed Herman and he are, of course, training partners. So he wants to avenge his teammates' loss. How about
that's
Rampage? Quentin Jackson coming to the UFC to take on Marvin Eastman at UFC 67. And I know you're fired up about this. Mirko Kroka against Eddie Sanchez. Tickets are now available at UFC.com, Ticketmaster.com. The Mandalay Bay Event Center box office, UFC 67. We'll see you Super Bowl weekend. right here in Las Vegas from the Mandalay Bay Event Center.
Before you started into that, Steve Mazzagatti had separated those guys when McDonald had Levin pressed up against the ropes. And I wasn't sure, the cage rather, and I wasn't sure why he did that. Now they're back into this position again. I think he's just thinking that there's not enough action there, but McDonald's working very hard to try to take Chris Levin down.
They caught him with that foot stomp because now Levin trying to move that left leg. There's that clinch and control that we talked about. A page really out of Randy Couture's textbook.
Mazzagatti is closing in on them again. I hope he doesn't separate it because McDonald's working very hard to try to take this down. Chris Levin gets away from him.
And one thing he's making sure is that Jason McDonald can't grab the fence behind Chris Levin.
Good leg kick by McDonald and a counter by Levin.
You know, this fight is not that different than it is to a certain degree, but as far as the approach, if you will, Joe, of Randy Couture, Chuck Liddell, one where McDonald wants to clinch and control so that his opponent can't swing fearlessly. And that's what Randy did a great job of. That's what McDonald's trying to neutralize the swinging ability of Levin by controlling with the clinch.
What I've been just told is that Mazzagatti had separated them because Chris Levin had his fingers in Jason McDonald's eyes, and he warned him. Elbow inside by McDonald.
And again, trying to control with that clinch. And closing in is Jason McDonald.
He's keeping the pressure on Chris Levin, pressing him up against the cage, forcing Levin to work. He's also exerting a lot of energy in doing this. This is a big struggle here.
Stop, guys. Let's get off the fence. Back
off the fence they come.
Get ready, fight.
And this is to Levin's advantage when they separate them. McDonald would very much like to just go right back to the same spot, and that's what he tries to do there. Chris Levin with a big punch, tries a knee.
And uppercuts from Chris Levin.
Good job by McDonald avoiding too much damage. Seemed very composed there. The thing about Levin, though, you feel that power.
And good knee.
Very dangerous.
Pulling down and delivers another knee. It's not just the knee coming up, it's the head coming down with the knee and the power.
And good strikes by McDonald as well.
McDonald trying to utilize the strike to set up a clinch or a takedown.
Chris Levin has great takedown defense, though. I mean, training at Team Quest.
He's got really underrated ground top to bottom, doesn't he, Joe?
Yeah, yes, he does. I mean, he likes to talk about how he likes to knock guys out and bang them out, but he does have very good ground skills and off his back, which he showed in his fight with Edwin Deweese, which he won by armbar. And Edwin is a very experienced guy.
I mean, talk about going on a tear. Since The Ultimate Fighter 1, when he was defeated by Florian and Koscheck, Jason Thacker, Patrick Cote, Edwin Deweese, Jorge Rivera, Luigi Fioravanti, Jorge Santiago, George Santiago. The only one that he lost to is the man who dominated middleweight for a long time, Anderson Silva. Fine finish to round number 1 for Levin. Andre Agassi and Steffi Graf, two of the greatest tennis players of all time. Andre, of course, the Vegas native, here tonight at the UFC.
He says back and arch him over. Okay? You gotta get him jumping. When you're tired, okay?
Listen, back to normal, okay? Keep him long.
Don't sit there and hit with him. Don't let him get those elbows in either. He's pushing it first.
You've got to wrestle first. The only thing.
Who do you give the advantage in round 1 to?
Well, if you're going to go with strikes, you got to go with Chris Levin. The only thing that Rob McDonald was really able to do, Jason McDonald was really able to do is press Levin up against the cage and try to initiate something off of his back, which didn't really work out so well. So I would give it to Chris Levin.
So Levin, in Joe's mind, gets round number 1. Jason McDonald wants to continue to clinch and pressure. Trying to throw down the cardio of Chris Levin. Second round. Levin in the red hair and the red trunks. High kick by the Canadian from Edmonton. The athlete Jason McDonald in the white and black trunks. Mike Goldberg, Joe Rogan. Oh, great delivery by Levin. Took the kick and then he takes McDonald down.
Yeah, that's the second time he's done that. He did that in the first round as well. He's timing that. And he loves to ground and pound even from inside the guard. Jason McDonald has nasty submissions off his back.
Caught him with an up kick. And now side control.
He's got side control and head and arm. He's trying to push the arms up towards McDonald's head. See, he's trying to do that with his hips and his left arm. He's trying to force Jason McDonald's right arm towards his head. McDonald's rolling over. Let's see if Levin tries to take his back. rolls him right back onto his back, drops the elbow. McDonald doing a good job rolling, trying to get into half guard here. Got a Kimura, looks like, from the bottom, but he's got no control of the legs, but he uses it to get back up to his feet. Good job by Jason McDonald, nice knee.
A knee to the midsection by McDonald to Lieben, and Lieben answered with a left to the face.
Constant pressure by McDonald.
That is how you beat a guy like Chris Lieben.
Yeah.
Constant pressure, constant control comes with that pressure.
Very good takedown defense, though, by Lieben.
This is a great example of the maturation process of mixed martial arts. We talk about Arlovsky and Petapano, you know, two very different styles. These are guys who are bettering themselves at the styles in which they are not accustomed to having in their arsenal early on. The ground guy becoming a guy who can do things on his feet. The man on his feet doing stuff on the ground. And Mazzagatti breaks him apart again. And every time he does, one would think advantage Lieben. Oh, big left.
Same thing.
Yep.
It's almost like McDonald is wanting him to do that so he can bring the fight to the ground.
Oh, there's a knee
by Lieben.
That was after a right by Jason McDonald. The knees have been very well utilized here by Chris Lieben.
There, relentless with his takedowns. Jason McDonald finally gets Chris Lieben to the ground. He's got him in half guard.
The athlete.
Now we're gonna get to see what Jason McDonald can do. He's on top here. I suspect he would like to try to move this a little bit away from the cage, try to pass Chris Lieben's guard.
Lieben breathing through his mouth.
Lieben's guard is wide open.
See if McDonald goes for the pass here early.
Some guys like to hold on to that half guard though, and even on top like to control it because they can use that leg to pin the guy down, to squeeze the leg tight and hold him down. Especially with punches.
Jason McDonald ironically lists his heroes as Lance Armstrong and Randy Couture. Randy Couture and Chris Lieben spent a lot of hours and hours together in the gym up outside of Portland.
Chris Lieben is holding that half guard in place with the lockdown. You see how he's got McDonald's legs entangled in his. That keeps him from yanking his leg out, and it also allows Chris to try to manipulate Jason's body by throwing his hips up there like that, which he's trying to use for a sweep. McDonald's trying to go for a guillotine on the left side. He's got his left arm deep into Chris's neck, but he doesn't have his right arm attached to his hand. Now he does.
Can he get it here?
He's got it deep. He's got it very deep.
Chris Lieben? Can he choke Lieben out? Lieben is in trouble.
Oh, he's in deep trouble.
McDonald trying to choke out Chris Lieben.
He's turning him over. Chris Lieben can easily go to sleep here. He's asleep. He's trying to tap.
And
he's out.
It is over.
Wow.
Jason McDonald chokes out Chris Lieben.
Wow, like we said, if Jason McDonald can get this fight to the ground, he has an advantage, and he proved it here. That was some beautiful jiu-jitsu by Jason McDonald.
Lieben would not tap, so McDonald put him to sleep.
Very, very impressive.
He truly is no one's stepping stone.
Let the doctor have him for a while, yeah, cool.
Chris Angel in attendance here tonight. Star-studded house here at the MGM Grand Garden Arena. And McDonald, the man, shining brightly right now.
Very, very impressive submissions from Jason McDonald. Let's take a look at this again. Here, Jason's got the guillotine. He gets it in very, very deep here. You see how he utilizes his guard, slips that left leg out, and locks his legs together. That's tight. Squeezes down. Chris Lieben's head is stuck in there. He rolls him over then onto his back. A horrible position. Chris Lieben is tapping and going out at the same time. Fantastic submission victory by Jason McDonald.
The athlete fired up 2-0 in the UFC. First Ed Herman, now his teammate Chris Lieben. Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, referee Steve Mazzagatti has called a stop to this contest at 4 minutes, 3 seconds of the second round due to a choke, declaring the winner, Jason, the Athlete McDonald.
Jason McDonald, congratulations. 2 fights against Ultimate Fighter finale winners, or excuse me, Ultimate Fighter contestants, 2 wins by submission. You gotta be impressed with yourself.
Hey, they're gonna start calling me the tough killer. The tough killer. No, man, I'm super proud of myself. No one can deny that Chris Liebman's one of the top middleweights in here. He's 6-1 in the UFC. I wanted to go out there and prove to everyone that it wasn't a fluke the first time around. I'm for real, I belong in this division. Like I said, I'm not a stepping stone, I'm a contender. There's a big difference.
And a contender you are. Please take a look at the big screen and talk us through the Mickey's replay, this beautiful guillotine you sunk in.
You know what, Josh and I go over, anytime that neck presents itself, you go for it. And I wasn't in a great position, but I went for it, man. And he turned a little bit and went right into it, and it was on, I wasn't letting go. He starts to go out here, and then he's out. I said to Mazzucati, he's out.
That was a very interesting guillotine. It's like you had him like backwards and to the side.
Yeah, it was crazy. Like I said, when that head pops up there, Josh trained me, you know, you just grab a hold of that. And it opens up opportunities, and there you go, it opened up an opportunity.
Well, your game plan was to take him to the ground and submit him, and you executed that game plan perfectly. And congratulations, we look forward to seeing you again.
Hey guys, I'm happy to be here, and I want the UFC to give me a shot. I want to be one of those top 5 contenders. Just quickly, I want to say hi to my kids at home. Tristan, Keel, Jan, I love you guys, and my wife, Kelly.
Well, keep winning like that, I'm sure you'll be a contender indeed. Jason McDonald, ladies and gentlemen.
Great showing by the Canadian here tonight, and Quentin Rampage Jackson. He is going to enter the octagon. Rampage had a great battle against Chuck Liddell in the past. Maybe he'll fight him again in the future. But first things first, back to Joe.
All right, I'm here with Chris Liebman. Now, Chris, I know you're a very emotional guy, and I've seen you react to losses in the past before. You always come back strong, but tell us how you're feeling right now.
Well, Joe, I feel like shit, to be honest with you. You know, that's a bummer, but I want to say, I don't regret anything. You know, I went out here, I made a mistake. That's what happened. It's not his fault he won, it's my fault I lost. I made a technical mistake right there, and that happens to the best of us. I've said it before. But, I just want to say, I came out here and tried to put on the best show I could for you guys. Stop booing, I'm out here trying to whoop ass for you, because I love the fans of the UFC, except for the drunk ones that just boo at everything. I came out here, I laid on the line. I love you guys. I'm going to go party now.
Chris, you did lay it on the line, and you always do, and that's why you've always got fans here in the UFC, and you've got a bright future ahead of you, and we look forward to seeing your improvement.
Thanks, Joe.
Chris Liebman, ladies and gentlemen.
You know what, say what you will, but he is first class in victory and first class in defeat. Chris Liebman has great heart. Tonight it wasn't enough, though, as he is defeated by the athlete, Jason McDonald. Now, Randy the Natural Couture told me, as Kid Rock is in attendance, as his former teammate went to tap, he passed out. So we'll get the official word later from the statistician. It was close. Nonetheless, McDonald victorious in front of our man, Kid Rock. All kinds of text voting, online voting continuously going on. Nearly 50,000 have been hurt. Don't be the one who does not cast his vote. Oh my goodness, look at this. It is nearly dead even on those who believe Liddell or Ortiz will win the fight. It started 65-35. The Ortiz fans continue to log on at UFC.com. 53% believe it'll be Liddell, 47% Ortiz. We will continue to update. Justin McCulley, good friend, longtime training partner of Tito. A live look inside the locker room of the Huntington Beach Bad Boy. Justin told me last night, Tito has never been better mentally, physically, and he believes tonight will be the night his good friend returns to glory. But to do so, he must defeat the most feared striker in mixed martial arts history, the light heavyweight champion, Chuck the Iceman Liddell. Our main event later tonight, here from the sold-out MGM Grand Garden Arena in Las Vegas. The buzz continues, and things are only gonna get better as we rock in 2007. Not only are we bringing in the new year with you here in Las Vegas, but we will also spend Super Bowl weekend down the street at the Mandalay Bay Event Center with not one, but two titles on the line.
When two new champions face off against two veteran fighters, it'll be all or nothing. George St. Pierre brought down a legend. Now, the newly crowned champion defends his title for the first time against the Ultimate Fighter welterweight winner, Matt the Terra Serra. And new middleweight champion Anderson Silva brings his devastating strikes to the octagon against another Ultimate Fighter winner, Travis Lutter. Also, two of the world's most dangerous fighters make their long-awaited UFC debuts. Quentin Rampage Jackson, one of the greatest 205-pounders in the world, looks to unleash his incredible strength and brutal slams in the UFC light heavyweight division. And the most feared mixed martial artist in the world comes to the United States for the first time to begin his quest for the UFC Heavyweight Championship. International superstar Mirko Cro Cop. The Ultimate Fighting Championship presents UFC 67, All or Nothing, from the Mandalay Bay Event Center in Las Vegas. Live Saturday, February 3rd, only on pay-per-view.
UFC 67, Saturday, February 3rd from the Mandalay Bay Event Center. Two titles on the line as welterweight champion George Rush St. Pierre takes on Matt the Terra Serra. And in the middleweight division, it's the Spider, Anderson Silva, against Travis Lutter. Also that night, the UFC debut for Quentin Rampage Jackson, and in a great heavyweight showdown, heavyweight slugger Mirko Cro Cop. UFC 67, All or Nothing. Tickets available right now at UFC.com, Ticketmaster.com, or the Mandalay Bay Event Center box office. From UFC 67, we take you back to April 2nd, 2004. UFC 47 from the Mandalay Bay Event Center, the first matchup between Tito Ortiz and Chuck Liddell. Chuck didn't believe that Tito would stand with him, but that's exactly what Ortiz did through the first 5-minute round, and he looked very good. At the beginning of the second round, Liddell came out swinging again, and that was the beginning of the end, as the Iceman finished off Tito Ortiz, knocking out the Huntington Beach bad boy 38 seconds into the second round. Tonight, they meet again. Take a live look once again backstage at the former light heavyweight champion, the Huntington Beach bad boy Tito Ortiz, who definitively is in the best condition of his illustrious career. Ortiz faces the supreme challenge in light heavyweight champion Chuck the Iceman Liddell, the most fierce and lethal striker in UFC history. So the main event later tonight here from the MGM Grand Garden Arena. Shortly, we have the light heavyweight matchup between Forrest Griffin and the Dean of Mean, Keith Jardine. That is our next fight on the card tonight. But Joe, I need to talk to you about these two exciting new fighters who will grace the octagon in 2007, starting with a man you know very well, Quentin Rampage Jackson.
Well, Quentin Rampage Jackson is very well known by MMA fans, but unfortunately not by UFC fans. That's going to change. He's a very colorful personality. He's a fantastic wrestler, incredible power, relentless, brutal. He's got great international experience, and he is a welcome addition to the 205-pound weight class. Very exciting fighter. I mean, this guy is really going to stir things up, and he's one of the few fighters that holds a victory over current UFC light heavyweight champion Chuck Liddell.
Well, speaking of holding a bunch of victories in the heavyweight division, Mirko Cro Cop comes to the U.S. He is going to fight in the UFC.
For me, this is Christmas. This dude is one of the most exciting mixed martial arts performers you're ever going to see in the octagon. First of all, the guy is not just a K1 level striker, but at the top of K1. Fantastic high kicks. His knockout reel, his highlight reel, is just head kick after head kick. And tough guys like Igor Vovchanchyn, Alexander Emelianenko. He's a brutal, brutal knockout artist. Vanderlei Silva fell victim to the head kick. Having Mirko in the heavyweight division is just a gigantic new explosion to the UFC, and I can't wait.
Well, let's welcome into the pay-per-view the UFC Hall of Famer, Randy the Natural Couture. And Randy, all right, maybe we'll see you back, but we're not going to talk about that right now. We know we're going to see Cro Cop. We know we're going to see Rampage. Dana White has stated many times he's going to bring the best fighters in the world to the octagon and have them compete in what he believes is the best of the best.
It's absolutely the best place to fight. Certainly here in the United States, and I think will rival anybody on the planet. So to see Mirko and Rampage coming in is no surprise.
It isn't a surprise to many. How much of a challenge will it be to Tim Sylvia, to the men at 205 with those two now in the mix?
I tell you what, the heavyweights got to be scratching their heads right now going, oh my God, what have we got to deal with now?
All right, speaking of dealing with things right now, we got to deal with Forrest Griffin and the Dean of Mean Keith Jardine. Forrest Griffin, a man you know very well.
I've been spending a couple years now training with Forrest. Not a harder worker in MMA, I swear. I thought I worked hard. This guy puts me to shame. Unbelievable. Fun to be around. He's like Alfred E. Newman supersized. We keep saying that. He's so funny. You never know what he's going to say. He's very good on the ground. I think his ground skills are underrated. We'll see if that comes into play tonight.
You know, Joe, you talk about Forrest Griffin, but you look at the Dean of Mean Keith Jardine, and you're really looking at a situation where we could have another Stephan Bonnar Forrest Griffin type fight, because the Dean of Mean likes to slug like Stephan Bonnar does.
Very, very true. And not only that, he holds a very close decision loss to Stephan Bonnar that a lot of people think could have gone either way. He's very similar to him in the fact that he's a very gutty performer who's very well-rounded. He comes from a great camp, Greg Jackson's camp out of New Mexico. Very, very similar to Forrest Griffin in a lot of ways. I see these guys as mirror images of themselves. I think I give a slight advantage in striking to Forrest Griffin, but I think I give a slight advantage in leg kicks to Keith Jardine. As far as like training ethic and work ethic, very similar. Experience advantage slightly to Forrest Griffin, but this could easily be a dogfight.
It certainly is expected to be, and when you look at the ultimate of dogfights, you go back to the finale of The Ultimate Fighter 1. You go back to Forrest Griffin against Stephan Bonnar. And since that day, everyone has said, when will we see another fight like that? It may come in a matter of moments, as Forrest Griffin, the ultra-popular Forrest Griffin, is set to try to bring down the Dean of Mean.
I'm a goofy, average kid. Happens to like to fight. I feel like every fight, I get a little better.
Nice right hand by Forrest. Forrest Griffin is throwing some serious leg kicks.
I like to think that I'm a better fighter than I was when I fought Stephan.
There's nobody in this sport at 205 you put me in with, and I won't make it a fight.
I have one job. I have to find a way to beat a really tough guy named Keith Jardine.
He's got to be careful because, trust me, Keith Jardine has power. High kick lands by Jardine. Jardine pressing forward now. No, a good left hook by Jardine.
Dean of Mean Jardine. He's a strong guy with great low kicks. As he showed Stephan, even in good high kicks.
Forrest is like me. He doesn't get going until he gets beat up a little bit. I love the battle, man. We're all in this for the battle. I can't wait to be in the middle of the second, middle of the third round with Forrest, just tired and sweating and bleeding, just fighting that battle, and that's what it's all about.
I want to move, and I want to cut angles, and I want to just, pace it out and make it kind of a little bit of a boxing match if I can.
I know in my heart that if I perform the best that I can, that I'll win this fight.
I'm going to try and, tear him apart.
I think he's actually an underrated fighter in the UFC right now. So for me to go in and beat him, that's just huge for me. That puts me in title contention right away.
A point that I kind of think about that title shot and asking for it is, if you're not careful, they might give it to you.
The Dean of Mean Jardine in what is definitely his most important bout to date in MMA, and he looks very focused. This guy's got a tremendous work ethic. He comes from a fantastic camp, Greg Jackson's camp out of New Mexico. He's a very well-rounded fighter, and more importantly, he is a fighter. This guy loves this sport. He lives for it. He trains incredibly hard. He's got excellent striking, excellent groundwork, constantly improving, eats, breathes, and drinks and sleeps MMA. And I think this is a very interesting contrast, or a very interesting matchup, rather, in the fact that these two guys mirror each other.
Keith Jardine is the same place that Forrest was in a couple of fights ago. He's here to prove that he's more than just a celebrity from a TV show. He deserves to be in this octagon. And it's ironic that he's using Forrest as the guy to prove himself that way.
Yeah, and he did use it with Stephan Bonnar. He had that very close fight with Stephan Bonnar that a lot of people think he should have gotten the nod. Stephan Bonnar walked away with a close decision, but Keith Jardine served some notice to people that he is for real. He is to be taken seriously. He's a very dangerous guy at 205 pounds.
He's very, very good when he's moving forward. He's got a great right hand, and his low kick, as Ben alluded to, it's devastating. It's a great low kick.
Stopped Kerry Shaw with his low kick in the heavyweight division. Dropped down to 205, which is a weight that I think he's perfect at.
If you're looking for a guy who wants to brawl, that's a guy who's willing to brawl. The Dean of Mean, Keith Jardine.
This really is a dogfight. Both these guys, two pit bulls.
No better way to put it. But we'll see if Jardine has improved as much as Forrest Griffin, because Forrest Griffin's striking the last time he was in the octagon was pinpoint perfect. If a Hall of Famer says, this guy actually outworks me, then you know what? That's pretty darn strong. Forrest Griffin, the winner of the Ultimate Fighter 1.
You want to talk about a rock star MMA fighter? That's your boy right there. This place is going crazy for this guy. Winner of Season 1 of the Ultimate Fighter, and arguably the most popular guy to ever come off that show. And popular not just because of his work ethic, but because of his attitude. He is a never-say-die fighter. He lives for this, just like Keith Jardine. Eats, sleeps, breathes it. And Randy, you had a lot of opportunity to train with this guy. Tell us about his work ethic.
Wow, second to none. I mean, the guy has a phenomenal work ethic. He stays after practice. We spent an hour and a half sparring, and he's got his strength and conditioning coach meeting him there to go through strength and conditioning after an hour and a half of sparring. It's ridiculous. Sometimes to the point where you got to kick him out of the gym. So look, you need some rest too, bud. You can't just work all the time.
How much danger does a guy like that have of overtraining?
I think it's a risk. I think it's absolutely a risk. I haven't seen him do it yet. I think he's smart enough that after his fights, he takes enough time off that he feels like he needs to train that hard to get back up where he is. I think as he gets older, he's going to need to kind of even that out.
Well, a guy
his pace higher for a longer period of time.
When a guy with a legendary work ethic, such as yourself, is telling a guy that he works out too hard, you would think they might want to listen.
The guy's unbelievable. He's so much fun to be around in the training room. He's always got a smile on his face. He's got something clever to say. And I think the most impressive thing is how much his striking has improved in this last year. And I think he showed that against Bonnar. He was very refined and selective in his combinations. He's done a great job of improving as a mixed martial artist.
And his attitude is fantastic. He is humble, he is humorous, he's intelligent, and he is always aggressive and always focused.
He made his pro debut for $250, and now he is a worldwide star. Our tale of the tape for this light heavyweight showdown here tonight at UFC 66, brought to you by Science, extreme supplements for extreme athletes. Forrest Griffin, 4 years younger than the Dean of Mean, Keith Jardine. Everything else is virtually the same. We've waited, we've talked about it, now let's get the official introductions. And for that, once again, here's Bruce Buffer.
Ladies and gentlemen, this